A peer-reviewed journal and or article is one where the author's work undergoes a thorough review process by other people who are also experts in that field. So the word peer obviously is somebody who is at the same level as you. So the person who has done the work that is going to be published should be an expert or somebody who's done extensive work, research in that area. So let's say, for example, somebody is an expert in the field of linguistics and they do some research on language development in children, and they publish an article, or they want to publish an article on that work they've done. What tends to happen is that particular paper would be reviewed by other people who also are experts and who know about language development in children, and they would check the work rigorously for things like objectivity. So they need to make sure that what's being published is actually, backed up by real scientific or academic research. There's evidence there, that, the person is not just making claims based on their own personal opinion, perhaps anecdotal evidence, just based on, experience or kind of hearsay. It's something that really has adhered to the standard of, university level research, and the ethics. Of course, that's something that's also important. Is the person qualified to write or talk about the area? So does the person essentially have authority? And that is what establishes somebody as an expert. And I think the best example I can give you is just the fact that obviously with social media, it's given a platform, as I've mentioned before, to anyone to broadcast any kind of information, regardless of the objectivity, the truthfulness, or whether the person is actually qualified to give advice or speak about topics in that field. So, for example, personal finance is one where, people claim to be financial experts, but they perhaps just don't have the experience or qualifications to back up their ability to be able to give advice. Psychology is another area where people feel, they can just perhaps do a Google search or a quick Wikipedia read, and, boom, they are professors in that area. And I think most recently, the best example is, obviously, criminology. There are a lot of people who do like to talk about true crime and come up with theories, which I personally I don't think that's anything wrong with it. I think, free speech and freedom of expression are rights that, everyone has the right to exercise. And I think you also are free to make videos or even books. You can publish books. Self-publishing is something that, gives people an opportunity to get their voice heard, and that is not what kind of peer review is aiming to kind of undermine in any way. Obviously, anything that kind of is out there in the academic sphere or within academic literature, it has to adhere to a certain level, because there has to be a line that's drawn between what is truth and what is knowledge and what isn't, or essentially what is fake. So, somebody's quick Google search or somebody's quick read on something obviously doesn't establish that person as an expert. So peer reviewing and the peer review process essentially does exactly that, establishing that the work that is in the academic sphere, that is considered to be scholarly, that is a contribution to the field, that people can cite, they can use, they can learn from. And of course, research is supposed to be public. It's supposed to be for the advancement of, what people do in education and work. So in order to maintain that and to make sure that, there is a standard and there is a differentiation between people's perhaps hobbies, and, their kind of their own independent searching on Google or Wikipedia, and actually people who are qualified and people who, are experts in this field and do real backed research by science and data that, can be checked. This is essentially what the peer review process ensures. So an author's work will be subjected to a very thorough and rigorous review by other experts in the field. So that's kind of the joke that you'll see, that reviewer one is kind of the more lenient one, and reviewer two is kind of, the a-hole who's like really harsh. I don't know how far that's true. Obviously, there is some kind of truth to it, but I think people do play it up kind of as an academic joke, which is kind of, it does have some truth to it. But really, it's all about just, that's basically an example of why criticality and critical thinking is important, and that is an example of how it is demonstrated within academia, because it ensures that somebody's work meets a standard that is accurate, it is truthful. Obviously, there is a level of how far you can ensure bias or unbiased. We're all biased in certain ways, but the process itself, in checking accuracy, validity, reliability of data, does ensure the minimum bias that can, occur. So when you are doing any kind of like search for literature, an easy way to tell if the paper that you're working with is peer reviewed is that if you are using, I think with Google Scholar it does come up, but if you are using any kind of university online library search, it will actually tell you peer reviewed. It's actually like a label there. So that ensures basically you're working with literature that is scholarly, and essentially in the field of publication, work that is of a scholarly nature, work that is academic, is subject to peer review, as opposed to other work that is just self-published, or perhaps just, somebody edits it and says this is okay. With academic work, with scholarly work, it does have to undergo that to ensure good quality publications that meet a standard where there is a clear guarantee that this work is quality and it meets a standard, and also it is written by somebody who does know what they're talking about and is qualified to talk and write about topics in that area. I hope that has helped. Of course, if you found this useful, please do give this video a thumbs up, and you'll see me soon in my next video. Bye.